Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Is it allowed to read from the Mushaf or a tablet or even a mobile phone during the night prayers in Ramadan? And the majority of the ulama have said yes, it is allowed. And the reason why they have said so is because many from the companions, too many to mention right now, used to recite from parchments that they used to have the Quran written on. And this has been narrated from many of the Salaf of this Ummah also. However, the Hanafis, may Allah have mercy on them, have said it is not allowed at all. And they have said for two reasons. Number one, if it happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it happened in that generation, and it is not permissible for us then to make an analogy that we can do that now. As in, that was specific at that time. After the Prophet ﷺ passed away, it is no longer valid. That's point number one. Point number two, and look how well they have thought about it, may Allah have mercy on them. Look at the care and attention that they're given to the Salah. They have said if a person is reading in the Salah, then what is he doing? Is he reading or is he praying? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna fi salati la shughul." The Salah is something which preoccupies you with a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't be doing multiple actions during the Salah. So if you're reading, that's nullified your prayer. However, the majority of the ulama have said it is allowed. And the Shafi'is have even taken it a step further in saying that it's completely allowed in all prayers, whether it's obligatory prayer or the nawafil prayer. But what seems to be the correct opinion is that the companions and the Salaf of this Ummah only did it because of a need during their nawafil prayers, the Taraweeh, the Tahajjud, the Qiyamul Layl, etc. And one of those companions that stand out, and we're going to mention this one in particular because of two reasons. Number one, of their authority, and number two, it shows that it actually happened after the passing of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aisha radiallahu anha used to have a servant called Dhakwan, and he was a young child. He hadn't memorized the Quran, and she used to tell him to lead him or lead her in prayer because he's not baligh, so there is no mixing that's going on. And he used to hold a parchment and he used to recite from the Quran in that manner. From this, we can learn is that there is a well-known principle in Usul al-Fiqh, is that the ulama have said that when you have Aisha talking about a legislation and a ruling, that is given precedence over anything else, unless if there is dalil for us to then know that there is a stronger opinions elsewhere. She is from the kibar of the ulama when it comes to the companions. That's point number one. And point number two, like we've mentioned before, this happened after the passing of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, the majority of the ulama have said that it is permissible for you to hold a tablet, to hold a phone, and to recite from it, because this is going to actually enhance your prayer. This is actually going to help you with focus in your prayer. And anything which is going to aid your prayer is allowed as long as there aren't excessive movements and a person is, not going to be distracted by it. Now, the second thing that comes off this is that, is it permissible for us to read tafsir during the prayer? And the Shafi'is and the Hanbalis have said, yes, it is allowed. And the reason why they have said that is because the Mushafs and the Sahifas, this is what they used to call their parchments, the Sahifas of the companions used to have Quran and they used to have tafsir within it. Therefore, it is permissible for us to read tafsir whilst we are reading from the Mushaf during the night prayer. And with that we can then learn that it's permissible for a person to read the translation during the prayer whilst he is praying his Salat at-Taraweeh or Salat at-Tahajjud, even the translation itself. And this is a fatwa that has been given by the Lajna Da'ima and many from the contemporary Kibar ulama. May Allah preserve those who remain and have mercy on those who have passed away. On two conditions, or let's say three conditions. Number one, it is actually going to help him with his khushu'. Is actually going to help him with his khushu' for the prayer, and he's not trying to study inside of the prayer. If he wants to read the tafsir and it's not really going to help him in his khushu', then he should be reading that outside of the prayer and just complete the prayer as normal, in a manner which is normal without reading the tafsir. So number one, it has to be of a need for him to do that. Number two, it can't involve excessive movements. walking around, placing the book down and excessively placing it back up, and then moving pages and flicking through the pages, and etc. It can't be excessive movements. The salah remains in a way that the person is standing still. Yes, he might want to put the phone in his pocket once he goes into ruku or sujood, or have a table next to him so that there aren't excessive movements. All of that is permissible. And number 3, the third condition, it can't be made audible. So he can't start reading out loud, all praises belongs to Allah, the Lord of all creation. He can't do that. So he says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. If he wants to have a glance over to see what that means in the English, Insha'Allah, if there is, all of the conditions have been satisfied, we will say, based on the fatwa of the ulama, is that it is permissible for a person not only to read from the Mushaf or his mobile phone, but also read the tafsir and the translation, as this will enhance the prayer and the khushu within it. We ask Allah to give us all khushu in the salah, and that He facilitates for us to making ruku' and sujood and standing in front of Him in the dunya, so that when we are called to stand in front of Him in the akhirah and make sujood for Him and to Him, we are doing it with sincerity and love and mutaba'ah, and that He accepts it from us in the dunya and in the akhirah. هذا والله أعلم وصلى اللهم على نبينا محمد